Nothing is off limits to you. If you all would give yourselves a break and do more things that make you feel good. Esther would say to Jerry would say, what do you think about taking a walk? I don't have time. Let's meditate. I don't have time to meditate. And we want to say, you don't have time not to. Because there's leverage in alignment that is nearly indefinable. In other words, when you take the time for alignment, when you meditate, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, you stop any resistant thought. And when you stop any resistant thought, now you're in alignment with your own desires. And now, you can get on these rampages where it feels like impossible things are unfolding. People around you are standing in amazement. Esther bought a house the other day, a really beautiful house. It turns out it is as easy to create a castle as a button. It's a castle. It has turrets and everything. And found it, walked through it on one day, and 1 week later closed. And everyone involved said, what just happened is not even possible. And Esther thought, in your world, in your screwy world. But in my world, everything's always working out for me. Everything's always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me because I have universal forces at my back. I have non-physical energies seeing through my eyes. I spend time coming into alignment so that my impulses are not wasted because my impulses are leading me toward what I want instead of away from what I want. So, why is it that you can't make everything like that? Well, because you've practiced it to be otherwise. In other words, the things that are light and fun, you're not heavily invested in them. You haven't thought about them much. The stakes don't feel that high. And you haven't practiced the thing that doesn't work with them so much because you didn't care so much. But the things that you really care about, you've thought about a lot from that place of struggle. And so the universe just keeps delivering you more things like that. It can be as easy as you want it to be or as hard as you make it out to be. And don't be hard on yourself about it. It takes a little bit of allowing the universe to demonstrate. That's why we like to say to all of you, start with something easy. Don't take the issue, that's your word. Sometimes you'll say, I've got this issue that I have a challenge with. And just those words are a really strong indicator of how you're feeling about it. I'm struggling. This is what I'm struggling with. And we want to just lighten the struggle. And so we'll say, let's talk about something lighter. We were having a conversation with a woman on a telephone many years ago when Esther still had time to do that. And this woman was not having any of us. She wanted a psychic prediction. She wanted us just to give her psychic predictions of what was coming, and she did not want to learn how to create her own reality at all. And so she was not enjoying us. And we weren't getting anywhere with her. And so we said to her, let's talk about some things that you do not have so much resistance about. She said, why? We said, because it will feel better to you. And she said, all right. Like what? She said. And we said, well, let's talk about blue glass. And she said, why? We said, because you don't think about that very often. And she said, there's a reason for that. And we said, well, let's just talk about blue glass just for a little bit. Let's talk about how many varieties of the color blue there are and how the textures of glass vary so much. You can see right through some, and some are so opaque you can't see through it all. Some let light through. So many different varieties of blue glass. Blah, 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 she's thinking. She's having none of it. So then we said, well, then let's talk about butterflies. Why? Because you don't think much about butterflies. Butterflies, the variety of butterflies. We talked about butterflies for a minute or so. And then we said, let's talk about feathers. She was having none of this and actually did end the conversation abruptly by hanging up. Jerry and Esther were in San Diego at the time. They were in La Jolla. And so they went over to George's to have lunch. And they parked their car at the La Valencia Hotel, and they were walking down the sidewalk to George's. And all of a sudden, Esther felt an impulse that she couldn't deny that was so powerful. She wanted to go inside this shop. Now, that in and of itself is not unusual for Esther. But her feeling was so strong. And Jerry did not want to go, which was not unusual for Jerry. But she dragged him in, and they got all the way to the back wall, and there was the most amazing wall of blue glass ever anywhere ceiling to floor, wall to wall, all kinds of different blue glass. Esther did not make the association, and Jerry had not been part of the conversation, and so he did not either. And so they were not interested in blue glass, and so they went on their way to lunch and had lunch, and they came out of the restaurant and they walked down to what's called the Cove, the most beautiful rocks and the most beautiful sea. And as they were walking across this long, lawned area, they were surrounded by a flurry of butterflies that was so intense they had to stop talking, which was not like them, in order to not eat butterflies. Still, Esther did not make any association with the conversation that had been an hour or so before. And then all of a sudden, Jerry said, look at that. And there's a little boy, a little Asian boy, 3 years old, 4 maybe, running toward them, as if he knew them. And Esther looked at him, and this little one came right up to Esther and handed her a feather. And then Esther realized what had happened. Because those 3 subjects had been activated with no resistance, the universe found a way to deliver them all in an amazingly short period of time and in a very obvious way. This is what we want you to understand about all things. But see, those subjects, there was no resistance within Esther about them at all. But they were active in her vibration because of the conversation. So what we're saying to you is, if you will test the universe with things that you do not have big wads of resistance about, just find some thoughts and simply offer them and watch how quickly law of attraction responds to the power of the frequency of your offering. You will discover your power. And then little by little, you can take subjects that are all wadded up within you, that you've practiced a lot of resistance about, and you can soften the resistance about those subjects by becoming less and less specific and more general. Because at the basis of everything that you want, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything that you want, whether it's a material object, a relationship, a pile of money, a state of being, a circumstance, a condition, an event, no matter what it is that you want, ever, you or anyone else, the reason that you want it is because you believe you will feel better in the having of it. So if you can discover how to feel better, you've already done step 1. Step 2 is already done. All you got to do is feel better. You've already done the efforting. You've already done the sifting. You've already done the hard part. You've already done the asking. And Source has already delivered the vibrational essence of what you want, all queued up, ready to be realized by you in the moment that you stop offering resistance that holds it apart. That's how thoughts turn to things, you see. First, they come into the thing called emotion, and then they come as the thing called thought, and then they come as the thing called word, and then they come as the thing called rendezvous with someone else. In other words, no one's trucking the resources into you from other planets. How do you think the evolution of that which you are about is taking place? The expansion is coming from the resources that are right here, and it is unlimited. There is no limit to what you can accomplish. If this time-space reality has the wherewithal to inspire within you a desire, this time-space reality has the wherewithal to deliver the full goods of that desire every time. And the only thing that prevents you from the full manifestation of anything that you desire is you've got contradictory thoughts that are keeping you from realizing the path to what you want. Ooh, so fun to be here at this time. So fun to be on the leading edge. So fun to be sifting and sorting, to have access to source energy, to have access to all that have been before, all those beings who have been physically focused and non-physically focused, who are with you, who have your back, who are aware of you, who are present in this moment, who are presenting and projecting to you ideas, the ideas that will lead you to everything you want being offered to you. But if your radio dial is set on 101 AM and your desire is set on 98 FM, the frequencies don't match up. You've got to be on the same wavelength as your desire, you see. And how do you know you are? You feel great. You feel great. You feel passion and love and clarity. And fun. Fun, 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 fun. 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 Fun, 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 fun. Clarity and fun. Clarity and fun. Clarity and fun. Clarity and fun. There's no judgment. There's no punishment. There's no one disappointed in you but you. The evidence never stops coming. You know it. Sometimes you see it. Often you don't. But when you see it, you go, amazing. And we say, are you aware that your Earth spins in perfect proximity to other planets? Are you aware of the orbit of your planet? Are you aware of the life force of your planet? Are you aware that no new seeds are being trucked in, and yet this planet is regenerating itself? In other words, feathers and blue glass? Are you kidding? You all are barely beginning to dabble in your potential. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have, but you'll get an idea about something, then you know, oh, can't do that. And the source within you is saying, not only can you, it is done. Just stop doing that thing you're doing that is blocking you from the realization of it. And you see, the fun isn't in wanting it and boom, having it. That's not the fun. The fun is in wanting it and adding to it and wanting it and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. In other words, here's how it works. So you sift through the contrast, you launch the rocket of desire, but the desire is new to you. You're not familiar with it because you're used to being over here. So now you think about it and you become more familiar with it and you disallow it less and less while you allow it more and more. And then before you know it, you're standing in such close proximity that then the ideas begin to flow. That's the fun of all of this. It's the never-ending ideas that will continue to manifest for you. Oh, it's fun to manifest stuff. We want you to have all of your stuff. But what we really want is for you to feel the invincibility of your being. What we really want for you is for you to feel the love that Source feels for you in the accommodating of everything that you want. We want you to feel the power and the clarity of who you are. We want you to feel the God force that is you. How do you think all of this is manifested anyway? You are the leading edge. So often humans think that they are here trying to prove some worthiness so that someone who is already perfect and worthy will then love them. It is nothing like that. It is your experience that this is all about. Your joyful experience is why life continues to be, you see. And to pinch yourself off for even a minute for any reason is Esther's favorite new word, ridiculous. She's hanging around with too many children. So what's required is an understanding, and we think you just got it, that every time you launch one of those rockets, the larger part of you becomes more. That's why you're here. You are the leading edge of thought. Oh, we're here to support you in every new thought you discover. And we are here to assist you in the clarity of what you have discovered. We're right here with you. But we are not thinking for you. We are not creating your reality. You are creating your own reality. So you want to care about law of attraction because it doesn't turn off. And you want to care about the way you feel because that's your indication of how you're doing within the law of attraction. How in alignment with who you really are, you are right here and now. That's the basis of everything that matters. So we'd like you to push the reset button while you're here today, restoring yourself to the natural clarity and self-awareness that is really who you are. Life is so good when you are deliberate about it. And it's not so much fun when you're just sort of sloppily, indeliberately creating by default. So many people are not clear about the thoughts that they think, and then they try to compensate for the contradiction in energy with hard work. Well, that's why you're tired. That's why you don't want to go to work. That's why you don't want to get up sometimes. Think about the difference in how you feel when you wake up some morning and you're going fishing or you're going to go do something fun. You're going to meet people. Think about how that feels in comparison with how it feels when you wake up and you're on your way to do something that you've already decided that you don't want to do. Contradictory energy is the reason for your tiredness. It's the reason for your decline. It's the reason for everything that doesn't feel good, and you're doing it to yourself and you don't have to.